Yeah, exactly. As Malana mentioned, I just wanted to add a couple of things on that. Is this idea where people sometimes go out of their way and do their wedding in a very lavish style with all the, musics and dance parties and this and that, which is haram anyway. And their idea behind it is actually to cause more stress or torture to people who are grieving. And that is not good. And if someone has that intention, then they would definitely be sinful for committing that action, not nikah or the wedding per se, because as Madana mentioned, nikah can be done on any day and any time. Because normally nikah is a very simple thing, where a party proposes, other party accepts, and then two witnesses, dowry stipulated, wali is there, nikah done. You do not need more than that. Unfortunately, we make it so big a thing that unless 500 people get properly disturbed with their life, getting upset down, and they're wasting too much of money, it is not seen as if something really happened in one family. So with that much of extravagance and wasteful thing, if someone wants to do wedding like that, it shouldn't be, but then they should refrain from doing that in Muharram, for not for a Shari reason, but for a moral reason. It's like, not trying to and trying to minimize the harm to someone else, and making them see us as, na'udhu billah, rejoicing the martyrdom of Sayyidina Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Obviously, they would be wrong in assuming that, but me doing that with all my, you know, lavishness and extravagance, it may give wrong signals. And this is the wisdom from the life history of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he would not do certain things that may give a wrong impression to someone. As we hear the story of itikaf, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with Sayyidah Safiya radiallahu anha, the al-Mu'mineen. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to see her off to the gate of the masjid. It was quite late in the evening, after Taraweeh and late. So two other companions were coming out of the masjid from the other side. When they saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a woman in the dark, they just turned the other way, letting them be as a courtesy. However, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam called them back, saying, "Come in, both of you come this way and have a look at this lady. This is your mother, Safiya." Say, they said, "Ya Rasulullah, we know it must be one of your wives, obviously. We have no concern about that." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yes, I know, but shaitan can give you or insinuate you some bad thoughts." Now, imagine if they had any bad thought about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being with a woman at the night time, what would happen to them? The faith would be shaken. Perhaps they would perhaps leave Islam. Perhaps they would be counted as disbelievers. Would that affect Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in any way? Obviously not. But why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went out of his way to call them, just to give us example. And Sahaba would never think that way anyway. It wasn't a problem for them. It was a message for us today. When we see certain things, the minute we hear a report about someone who is pious, who has done this one, like the question about, can we, as the masjid committee, push someone away from the masjid, not letting them in the masjid? What happens? Straightforward. We would say, what a bad attitude. These masjid people shouldn't be doing it. This is what we feel generally, because we are quite quick to judge. And when someone comes and show his, you know, predicament or his bad situation he's been through, we always take sides because we feel that they are the oppressed. Although it should be always about justice, knowing the truth from both sides before we come to the conclusion. But anyway, for that reason, we should try and avoid that in Muharram, in vicinity where there are many people from Ahl Tashayyu who would mourn and who would have those whatever practice is bid'ah, obviously shouldn't be mourning. We don't mourn the pious people's martyrdom, especially this, mashallah, blessed thing. Obviously, that event was very, very painful in the history of Islam, yet we still don't grieve that for more than 3 days. And it's been like, centuries. So we consider that not to be right. Even then, we just look after people and their sentiments. We shouldn't be doing the same thing to non-Muslims, but they are our brothers in Islam, even if we consider them, and we do consider them deviant for their faulty understanding in many respects, with regards to Sahaba especially. So, but we should have that sensibility and sensitivity towards them. So, it's perfectly fine to do it in Muharram. Yet, the way nikah are done these days, I would encourage people not to do in Muharram if they could avoid it. Ideally, and definitely not do on the 9th or 10th of Muharram, clearly not, although it's permissible. But if they wanted to do very simple nikah in the masjid, inshallah ta'ala, by all means.